I am confident that we will be supportive to the request of Prime Minister, but it's highly probable that it will be a longer extension than Theresa May wrote in her letter.
Would you like it to run to March 2020, or you're flexible?
I am very flexible because it is not much sense to debate a concrete month. What we would like to see to help and accommodate UK to have any kind of decision finally.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good afternoon. Well, first of all, obviously I'm here with fellow leaders to talk about the request I've put in for a short extension to Article 50. And I know many people will be frustrated that the summit is taking place at all, because the UK should have left the EU by now, and I greatly regret the fact that Parliament has not been able to pass a deal that would enable us to leave in a smooth and orderly way. But I and the government continue to work to find a way forward. We've been talking with the opposition. Those have been serious, constructive talks. They will continue tomorrow. The purpose of this summit is to agree an extension which gives us more time to agree a deal to enable us to leave the EU in that smooth and orderly way. And what matters, I think, is that I've asked for an extension to 30th of June, but what is important is that any extension enables us to leave at the point at which we ratify the withdrawal agreement, so we could leave on the 22nd of May and start to build our brighter future. Well, I've been clear that the UK's request is for an extension to the 30th of June. I have been working to make sure that we can leave the European Union. Indeed, we could have left the European Union by now, but Parliament didn't pass the withdrawal agreement. So we need that extra time to work to ensure that we can get a deal through Parliament that enables us to leave in a smooth and orderly way. That's in everybody's interest. I think what matters is that we are able to leave the European Union at the point at which we ratify that withdrawal agreement. That would enable us to leave by the 22nd of May. I'm working to ensure that we can leave the European Union within the timescale that the government wants to see. I want us to have to be able to leave the European Union in a smooth and orderly way as soon as possible, and that's what I'm going to be working for. Thank you.
The UK is still a member state. As I always told you, it will become my file only once they will leave.
Are you afraid that the UK could block anything in the future?
So far, we've taken decision at 28. We are continuing to take decisions at 28. In the Council I chair, we do that at unanimity. Even on Monday, we are adopting conclusions by unanimity at 28 without major problems. So I count on that to be continued.
Prime Minister, good afternoon. Theresa May is going to ask for an extension to the end of June. What does she have to say to convince you?
Well, it is, of course, very important to declare what it is she wants. First, I think it's an important meeting, and from the Swedish point of view, we, of course, would prefer an orderly exit. It's best for us all, not only the British, also the Swedes, the whole European Union. This is about students, entrepreneurs, companies, enterprises. So many people are affected by this, so I think we should work to find a way out. An extension in itself does not solve this problem, but anyway, it gives the British side more time, more space to find a solution, and I think it's worth trying. At the same time, I also think it's frustrating, of course, for everybody now that after so long time that we haven't found a solution yet. So now it's time to try to conclude this.
Do you think that a long delay, therefore, would just prolong the agony? It sounds like you're quite impatient.
Yeah, I think the longer also, and this is important because we need to make sure that the legitimacy and the integrity of the EU institutions are not hurt. And the longer extension, the more risk for that. So we need to look into that very close, what can happen that we absolutely do want to avoid. So we need to, that's why I see quite a long meeting here, because it's going to be, there's a lot of discussions here.
That the UK will organize the European elections is of course very important for us, and that's why we can agree. I'm speaking for myself. The prolongation.
But are you losing patience with Britain?
I have a lot of patience.
How much longer should this process last, Prime Minister?
I don't know. For me, the proposal of Donald Tusk until end of March next year is fine.
What is your hope, Prime Minister? Is it that perhaps Britain changes its mind?
I hope, I don't know. I mean, we, Czech Republic were always a very close ally of UK. I have been Minister of Finance before, so we are not in Eurozone, and we had a lot of common views on several issues. And finally, if you have elections and second referendum and you stay, it will be fine.
You want us to change our mind in Britain?
We will see. Let us discuss it. I hope that the discussion will not last like last time, 8 hours. So I hope that in 2 or 3 hours we will find an agreement. Okay,
thank you.
Look, if the Brits are asking for a little more time to decide, I think it's right. It's really up to the British Parliament, the British government, the British people to decide. It seems that there are really 3 choices. So a no-deal Brexit, that's always an option if the Brits would decide that. A withdrawal with an agreement is an option because it's been negotiated. And I guess there's a third possibility of revoking Article 50 if the Brits were to decide. So it's up to the Brits to decide. Today we'll be speaking about it, but it's not our decision. We already have an offer on the table in terms of the withdrawal agreement. It's up for the Brits to decide what it is that they want. If they need a little more time, I think it's reasonable to discuss what that would be. Let's see how it goes.
Well, if we give her what she asked for, and that is an extension until the end of June, then we don't need many conditionalities. Of course, we need her to ensure that she will prepare European elections, because, I mean, if you're a member of the European Union, in June and even in the end of May, you have to hold European elections. That's quite obvious. But I understand that she is ready to prepare it.
But are you prepared to give her a longer extension until the end of the year, which I know she's not asked for, but many people are suggesting?
Yeah, I'm open to discuss extension to the end of the year, but as you just said, she didn't ask for that. So, I mean...
But you might offer it.
Yeah, but I mean, if we should... I'm willing to offer it, personally, but the big question is there any added value linked to a longer extension? And I think that's what we have to find out during our consultation with Theresa May at the beginning of the meeting.
We have 7 important points. The most important is to defend the rights of the European citizens living in the UK, the British living in Europe. But we need to decide. In London, we want to know the UK decision, and then we need to decide in the Council. For the European Parliament, it's important to be serious on this. London and then here.
If the British vote in the European elections and then they're in the Parliament and then Brexit happens, and then they all have to leave, how is that going to work?
But if they stay, they vote. But how long they want to stay? This is the problem. But if there are elections, they will be member of the European Parliament.
But after 2 years negotiations.
You're an old ally of Britain. Is your patience wearing thin?
For some time now, yes. But at the same time, I still have the highest admiration for the tenacity of Theresa May. We now have to deal with the latest request, which is a somewhat longer extension till, I believe, the end of June she has asked for. And of course the question tonight will be the length of an extension, the conditionalities of an extension, and particularly what her plan is to now get that withdrawal agreement through Parliament. And how we can get guarantees that in the meantime the United Kingdom will stay as a loyal partner.
I don't anticipate that the UK will leave this Friday. There will be, or at least I'm very confident that there will be an extension agreed today. What's still open is how long that extension will be and what the conditions will be. But I think the vast majority of people here in the European Union appreciate that the United Kingdom is in a difficult position. It doesn't want to leave without a deal. At the moment, it doesn't want to vote for the deal. And of course, a lot of people, maybe even half the population, don't want to leave at all. So I believe the consensus here in Brussels and across the European Union will be to give the United Kingdom a little bit more time for the cross-party talks that are happening to conclude. And we can review the situation then in a few months' time.
Today's situation is very hard and difficult. That's good that we still have dialogue between EU and United Kingdom. My opinion is that we must do all what we can to avoid no deal and to have Brexit with agreement. Actually, the Brexit is also very sad for me, but that's the today situation. I would like to say that Estonia support if we could prolong the period, and if it is given a solution, then of course Estonia supports it. Thank you.
Are you afraid the British could block any decision?
Our main priority should be to give confidence to citizens and companies by avoiding any risk of a no deal. And we need always to keep in mind that we need to manage this process with the goal to have with the United Kingdom a closest as possible future relationship. And that's why we should agree on an extension as long as necessary for United Kingdom reach a clear and consequent position about the future of their relationship with the European Union.
Are you not tired of talking about Brexit?
No, I'm not. I'm never tired about Europe.
Do you hope that Britain changes?
Just a few words. The Prime Minister Theresa May has requested a further extension of the Article 50. One point is important. Any extension has to be useful and serve a purpose. And our common purpose is to get the ratification of the withdrawal agreement. Let me recall that this withdrawal agreement is the only way to ensure an orderly withdrawal of the UK, which is our common interest. So now it's for the leader to decide tonight.
Would you be afraid that the British would block everything?
First of all, we want to listen to Theresa May and to listen what would be her plans for the next week and the next month, point one. And point two, in case of extension, if we would decide an extension, it's very important to have the certitude and then to have guarantees for the well-functioning of the EU institutions during this possible extension.
And do you think an extension until June the 30th would be sufficient? That's what the Prime Minister's proposing.
It's too early. We will have a substantial discussion with Theresa May, and we will appreciate with the colleagues what could be the best approach in order to guarantee the stability and to guarantee the well-functioning, the well-working of the EU institutions. For the citizens, it's important. It's important that in the next months, even with a possible extension, we have to remain able to take decision for the security in Europe, for more growth, for more investments, for more jobs in Europe, for the strengthening of the single market. these are the very important topics for our SMEs and for the citizens in Europe.
I would support an intelligent extension. If it's long or short, for me the main point is that we have European elections on the 22nd of May. No elections, no extension. You can't be member and having no elections. That's not possible.
The Prime Minister is suggesting an extension until June the 30th. Do you think that's a workable solution?
If it's a short, or I think we should listen to her now, why she needs June. I know that there are some positions for longer extensions. I really want to listen. If there is a longer extension, there is no lunch for free, so we need to know why is there a longer extension, and we need to know what is the reason they need a longer extension. But if the goal is to find a deal, I think it's the most important thing. I repeat what I already said here. It's not our choice, it was the choice of the UK citizens, and what seemed to be so easy, remember during the referendum period, you leave EU, it's like this, we still are working.
What's the second referendum? Do you expect
I still believe a second referendum would be the best outcome of the deal.